Hey guys, tonight's team call is more of a how to use PicMonkey because so many of you have messaged me. You're trying to clean up your graphics, you're trying to make some really cool eye-catching ones, and I figured now would be a great time. We get a lot of new coaches on board to just show you how cool this website is. And in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and create a graphic for our upcoming Bend and Snap 5-day free group as we go through it. So it's actually going to be a template that you can use when it comes to inviting to the group. So first of all, PicMonkey is a free website. Unfortunately, there's not an app for it. I hope someday there may be. But PicMonkey is something you can access from your desktop or your laptop, just picmonkey.com. There are two different kinds that you can have for PicMonkey, just the regular basic PicMonkey. Or for me, I am a Royal user, which means I pay $4.99 a month to have more features with it. I think it's definitely worth it. Of course, it's a business expense, a write-off, but it's something that I use so much that I can justify the cost because it absolutely helps to have the extra features. But you don't need to have those. Probably the first 6 months that I used PicMonkey, I did not use the Royal option. Just a heads up on that. So when you come to PicMonkey, what this site can do is going to create graphics, obviously, using your photos or any images you upload. Of course, add text to it, some fancy effects, all that good stuff. When you log in, you're going to have four options right from the jump. You can go ahead and you can edit a photo that you already have. You can touch up a photo that you have. You can design something from scratch, or you can make a cool collage. Now, I can tell you when it comes to what I use this for, and everyone's going to be different, I use the design option every single time. Every single time. When it comes to what I use it for, obviously I like to design things from scratch, but I just find it easier to go ahead and log in this way, start using it, making a custom slide from scratch. But you may not agree with that, and that's totally cool. Just do whatever works for you. So you have an option when it comes to your canvas. What are you going to create? Do you want to make a square image? Do you want to make a new Facebook cover? Do you want to use something with a more specific dimension, like a 4x6 or 8x10? For me, I always use the custom feature, and this is why I do custom, because a lot of the graphics that I create, I end up importing into a PowerPoint presentation, and I like the slides to fit perfectly in those PowerPoints. So for what I do, what I do when it comes to this, I go ahead and I enter in the dimensions that I know work with PowerPoint, which would be 1024 by 750. It just makes it easier for me if I ever do want to put them into a slideshow for training purposes. If not, I think the size just really works well, so that's what I do. You'll notice those if you look at any of my previous Facebook posts. So now we have this blank canvas and you're thinking, what am I going to do? Now, like I said, there's a lot of options that you can use with this website. The first tab when you log in here will just be some basic edits that you can go ahead and you can make with the blank canvas that you have. So you might right away think to yourself, well, I want to crop a photo if you have imported a photo. You might want to change up the canvas color and think, I want that really cool green color. Whatever you want, you can go ahead and get started with. Rotate an image, change the exposure, the colors, maybe sharpen it if it's a little bit dull, or resize it. Usually I don't hop into this screen at all unless I absolutely have to, because I'm usually doing a lot with overlays, which we'll talk about here in a second. The second option over here, you'll see it looks like a little magic wand. This will be your effects tab. Now, I love this tab so much. We'll probably hop in here a little bit later on to show you some effects, but it gives you the opportunity to take an image, even just a regular photo of yourself, and make it into something a little bit more appealing when it comes to colors. You might have a photo you love, but the color is saturated or it's a little bit dull and you just don't like it. This is a great way to change it up, maybe make it black or white if you want to do something like that. You can make things look miniature, which is fun. You can go through yester color, which just kind of makes it look a little bit old-timey or gritty. I mean, just so many options here that really can spice up just a regular photo that you took from your iPhone or your Droid, your camera phone. So that's something that you want to play around with. I can't encourage you enough to spend a little bit of time after this tutorial is over, just monkeying around on your own, because that's how I did teach. I taught myself everything when it came to this. I didn't use a whole lot of tutorials. I just kind of came in here and monkeyed around and found what worked and have been using it ever since. So I definitely encourage you to do that. Just mess around with things. Your little lipstick tab here, this is going to be your touch up. Of course, we want to look fabulous in these photos, right? So you might want to change up if you have a blemish in there, if you want it to look a little bit more airbrush or remove wrinkles, just the basic things that you would do. I mean, a lot of you may use Photoshop, so you might be comfortable with some of these different options, but I mean, Photoshop doesn't have a teeth whitening tab. They go ahead and you can figure out, you know, the brush size and go ahead and whiten your teeth. So that's a cool option that's there. Plus there's some makeup ones too, as you can see. Again, great if you're trying to just make a little bit more flawless of an image. When it comes to, whoops, the T's here, this would be the text button. There are two different tabs for text. Ours, which would be the PicMonkey fonts, and then yours. I love to download fonts. I download them like crazy just to change them up so they're not the same as everybody else's. I use a site that's called dafont.com, and that's DAFONT.com. You can download a ton for free. If you want to support those who create the graphics, you can just buy them a cup of coffee through a little online button, which I think is really neat, that I'm buying a stranger a cup of coffee for making some really neat text that I can use. So that would be where you would go to when you're ready to just go ahead and put some text on, which we'll do here in a second. This butterfly tab is the one that I use all the time. It's an overlay button, which means that when you have graphics, you can layer them with other graphics, or maybe, you know, an arrow like down here, or put a critter if you're really feeling that for whatever you're making. It just gives you a chance to spice things up with a little bit more dimension, and I love it. This little button over here that looks like a frame is exactly that. It's a frame. It gives you the chance to do shape cutouts, to make something look like a Polaroid. That's what, if you've ever seen my cover photo in the Sparkle Fitness Babe, I've got some Polaroid frames up there in the cover photo. This is exactly how I did it. You can just make it a little bit sketchy if you want, whatever you want to do. The little grid down here just helps you when it comes to textures. So you might really like an image, but again, you might want to make some clouds on it. You might want to make it have a brick appearance or a smudge. This is where you would go to do all of that. And the very last little button over here is an apple, which that would be themes. I love the themes because there's some really fun ones in here. But if you go into, say, comic heroes, which of course you guys know how I feel about Wonder Woman and comic heroes, it gives you the chance to use some neat effects, like make it look like a newsprint or a sketch like you would see in a comic book. It allows you to have some cool overlays when it comes to masks. So maybe you want to go ahead and put your Wonder Woman hair on top of a photo. That's always cool. And then it also will share with you some different text fonts that work well with that theme. So it's really neat if you're trying to go a certain direction with something, you can always pop in there and check it out. So let's go back to the beginning. So I want to go ahead and I want to create a really cool graphic because we have this free 5-day group coming up that I'm calling the Bend and Snap Challenge. Because of course, the Legally Blonde, there's that move called Bend and Snap. It's fun. But I want it to work the booty and the legs. So it's a group people can be in for clean eating, but also we're going to have workout elements that they can do, which is going to be really, really fun. Because it's a Legally Blonde themed group, I want to use some of that when it comes to the graphic I'm creating. So I'm going to go ahead to your own, because whenever you're using your own photos, you want to go ahead and just select the overlay button and then your own, so you can go and find wherever it is. Then you can upload from your desktop, your files, Dropbox, wherever you've got stuff hidden. I just took a random screenshot earlier of a pink feather boa because I determined that's what I want to be the background of this little graphic I'm making. As you can see, it's not the right size. Well, it's okay. I'm going to fix that. All the overlays will have a little legend over here that allows you to fade it in and out if you want to do that. You can mess around with the color if you want to, if you want to blend it or maybe change it. This won't make much of a difference, but if you want to rotate it back and forth, or if you want to erase part of it. The eraser tool is something I use a lot to get rid of backgrounds or things I don't want to see in the pictures. And you can make it a large eraser area or something that's small if you want to do that. Since this isn't covering the whole area, I want to make sure that it does fit the whole area. And that's why I like to use the overlay button instead of edits, because it gives me the opportunity to move things around instead of, if I would have opened this little image in the edit button, this would be how big it would be, the little pink square. And it's not going to work, like I said earlier, with the dimensions I wanted. So I'm going to just go ahead, I'm going to play around here and just space it out. And then I'm going to just fade it a little bit, just because I'm going to put some other stuff on top of it, and I don't want it to be super overpowering. So there's the background. Now, the one thing I can tell you is up here at the top, when you're going through opening and saving your images, the one thing that is even more important than doing that, I think, is this one that's over here. which would be the combining element. So right now, if I went to put something else on top of this, it can move around, right? It's not attached to the background. So if I do this, it suddenly is. Awesome sauce. Love it. The other buttons up here will allow you to see a before and after, which of course you're not going to have many for this because it's already combined, but I can show you that later on too. This will allow you to undo an action. So if you accidentally erase something, that's a button that you want to go ahead and click so you can fix it. So we've got that background going on. And what I want to do next is I want to go ahead and I want to put a picture of Elle Woods on here because she's important when it comes to the challenge because she's the bend and snap queen, right? So I found this image and I figured this would be a good one to use because it's also, it's obviously funny because I like her face, the little facial expression she's got going on, but it also has a really ugly background. And what I don't want to do is include that. So I'm going to go ahead and just erase the background from the image. Again, go to the legend over here to the left, click erase, and then find the eraser size. Now, if you want to change up the hardness and make it a little bit softer, you can do that. I usually have a pretty hard edge to mine just because I want to get stuff erased and I don't really want to blend it with this particular image. So you just take your little eraser tool and just start erasing. See how easy that is? I love doing this. I do it with a lot of my own pictures of, myself. If for some reason there's something in the background that just isn't going to work with the image, just go in and you erase it. It makes it a much cleaner looking image, and then of course allows you to add dimension when it comes to the background as well. So I'm just going to go ahead here and finish. There's a couple little spots that this larger size won't get, which is fine. I'm going to show you here a second just how to make it a little bit smaller, and then it'll be ready to move on to the next step. So that was pretty easy, right? Didn't take much time at all. I want to just go ahead and make the eraser brush a little bit smaller because I noticed there's a little area here and I don't really like how that looks. I want to make sure it's gone. So I'm just going to go in there and clean that out. Same right there. And there's that. There's Elle ready to roll with us. I'm going to make her a little bit smaller so she can fit right over here in the corner. And I like that. I also have decided when I was thinking about what I wanted to put on this, I want to go ahead and put a picture of my face on there because I'm going to change up the title of it a little bit, which you'll see here in a second. So I'm going to go into photos. I think I'm going to go into some of my fun photos. And I think I'm going to use this one just because of colors. It's going to be bright and vibrant, and I like that. So again, I'm going to make it so that it's about the same size, but because I want to erase some of that background, I'm just going to go ahead and make it a little bit bigger to do that. That allows me to get rid of some of my crazy stray hairs, so I don't look as crazy as the picture may suggest, right? It's fun stuff. Now, you may be thinking this is a bit much and you don't want to be getting as crazy with a graphic, and you don't have to. I don't want you to feel like you need to do that. There are so many really great apps out there that a lot of top coaches, they just build their business strictly using those apps. So use what makes you feel comfortable. I just have found that this was like a hidden gem for me. I did not even know that this existed. I would have been using this for probably all facets of my life. Before Beachbody came into my life because I love it so much. Had I known it existed, but I had no clue. So obviously this is a new relationship that we have there, and that's okay. So I'm just kind of tweaking the little hair issues because I got some strange things going on with that wind that was blowing in that photo shoot. Just gonna go under the arm here, get as much of that as possible. I'm gonna have to go into a smaller brush, of course. And there's that. So now I've got my background gone. I'm going to go ahead and make this a little bit smaller. And then I'm going to get started with a little banner across the top because I want people to see the name of it. So I've decided that I'm going to make, what kind of banner? I think I'm going to go ahead and just use a regular geometric shape. I like using these shapes because you can space them out kind of however you want. So even though it looks small now, you just drag it to where you want to, pull it out there, and there you go. Now I'm going to change up the color. I think maybe I'll put this down here right in the middle. So it's more It grabs your attention more. Sometimes when I go into this, guys, honestly, I have no clue what I'm going to even create. I don't even know what colors I want to do. I just kind of go by the seat of my pants and just figure it out along the way, and that's okay. Some of my favorite graphics I've ever created have been just randomly when I've had no vision, and I just start playing around and I find something. And that's how you might be the same way. It's okay. Find something that works for you that you like. I'm thinking I like this mint color here. I'm using a lot of colors because I just want to grab, like I said, grab attention. Don't know if I like how that is, so I think I'm going to pull it up there. Okay, so then I'm going to go into the text tab, and I want to use a font that's going to be a little bit bigger and grabs your attention when you're looking at it. So I think I might go into mine. Like I said, this is going to be the Bend and Snap Challenge. It's going to be the name of it, which I think is fun. So I think I'm going to go with the Lucky Clover. I think that's a fun font. And I'm just going to type Bend and Snap Challenge. Let me see if I like how this looks up there. Sometimes you might have an idea, go with it, and you just don't like it. That's okay. That's the joy of this. You can make it however you want it to be. Upon review, I don't like the color of the background, so I'm going to change that up now. This is how my brain works. I think I'm going to go into a lighter pink. So now that I changed that, got this Bend and Snap Challenge here. I want to put some more text above it though, because I've got a little vision in my mind. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go and just find a little basic font. I love to use shadows in the light. It's one of my favorites. So I'm going to say L in Bruiser Woods. Put that up here. I'm going to go back into my overlays because I want to create a line that strikes through that. And you'll see what I'm going to do with it here in a second. So when we're cruising through here, you see there's so many different options that you can do. You can do some dashes. You can, get crazy with some of the labels, buttons, push pins. Just, click on some of these. You can see the options that are there. I think what I'm going to do is just go ahead and up here, go into geometric again and make my own line. See how that's really nice and thin? Yep, that's going to work perfectly. So what I'm going to do then is grab this, and I'm going to put this here as if it's a strikeout. You guys know what I mean when it says strikeout, like through the name. And then I'm going to go ahead and instead go back to the text and put Katie and Murphy Kramer instead of Ellen Bruiser Woods. That's where I'm going with this, in case you missed it. And then I'm going to go ahead and put present the I like that. So now I want to go ahead. I'm going to do an overlay again of another image, which would be Murphy, and also I want to do one of Bruiser. So what I'm going to do is just open up another window, just open PicMonkey in another window. I do this all the time, just constantly cruising back and forth. And then I'm going to use one of these other tabs that I told you about in the beginning, the edit button. I'm going to click edit. And then I want to find the image that I've already saved of Bruiser. There he is. So there's the little guy. See what I say when I told you earlier, if you import a picture, it's going to come in the size that it was. So if I was trying to make a whole big graphic on this, it would be really super tiny. But I'm not. All I want to do with this is just go ahead and make a little shape cutout. So I'm going to go over here where the little frame is. Click that. Click shape cutout. I'm going to use this circle. I like how that looks. Now with these, you can always change the size, make them bigger, make them a little bit smaller. I just want him to be in there entirely, so I think I'm going to do that because that covers his face and some of his ears. That's going to be just fine. And then if you could see behind it, you see this checkered background. This means it's a transparent background. So when you save this image, it's going to actually save it just as a circle, nothing else behind it. If you did not have that little button checked over here to the left, it would be plain white when you would save it. So always make sure it's transparent. You click apply, and then you're going to go to save. So I'm just going to go ahead and call this Bruiser. Saving it to my desktop so it's easier for me to find. I'm going to go ahead over here where it says your own. I'm going to do another overlay. We're getting pretty good at the overlays, I hope, guys. And then I got this picture of Bruiser, and I actually want to change him, I think maybe the other way, because we got him here. Make it a little bit smaller. I think it would be cool if we just hit these little arrows over here to the left. So he's looking that way. There he is. Now I want to do the same thing with Murphy. So I'm going to go back in here to PicMonkey. I'm going to edit again, computer. I'm going to find the picture on here of Murphy that I want to use, which is this one right here. Look at those ears. Isn't he so cute? Go over to the frames, again, shape cutouts. And then we're going to go up to where his big ears will be. And then apply, save. Murphy, save. Back to the other main graphic. Going to go ahead and just, like I said, click the overlay again. See how often I use these? I use them for everything. And then just make him look a little bit smaller. Put him over here. So now, going along with the theme of what I put up there at the top, I've got a picture of me, picture of Elle, and then both of the dogs. So what I want to do now is just have something small that just introduces to everybody what's going to be going on with this. So what I've decided is in the middle of this graphic, I'm just going to put a square and just send it to the back, which you'll see here in a second, which will break down everything. So what I want to do really quick is figure out what color I want this to be. And maybe I'll change my mind again because I already did once. I like how the light pink looks, but maybe a different color. I do like that mint. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and make a square. And I can always change this square up, but I want it to just be big enough to share some information. As you can see, it's blocking everyone's face now, so no one likes this. If you click, and I don't know what kind of computers you guys have. I have a Mac. So if I hit Control and then one of the little lower right-hand corner of the mouse, it gives me the option to send to the back, bring forward, duplicate, all of that. I want to send to the back. So when I do that, it's right behind the images now. Now I'm going to go ahead and just line this up with my head, I think. Or do I want it to be a little bit higher, lower, like that? Again, now that I see it a little bit larger, I'm not a big fan of the color. Surprise, surprise. So we're going to find something else that is fun and exciting. Maybe that one's a little bit better. Okay. So I can always stretch this out. It's just behind the image. I do this a lot of the times, just change up kind of where the positioning is. So that way it flows a little bit nicer. It's a great tool. Okay. So now all I want to do is just go back into the text tab because I want to go ahead and share with everybody what's happening as far as the information for the group. Now, in case you missed it in our Coach Family page, this group will be the end of the week. Like I said, it's a free group. So it's something that you can be inviting to at any point in time. I definitely encourage you to, create fun graphics like this too. I'll be creating a template so you can change this up if you want to. But the group will actually begin the 25th of the month, and then it will end the 29th. So 5 days, free group. Anybody can be in it with the exception of coaches outside of the our Coach Family, as well as customers. So they've got to be a customer of yours, at least have a Team Beachbody account, as we usually do. So what I'm going to put in here is, which kind of font do I want to use? I think I want to use the Bilbo wash caps. And I'm going to go ahead and just start putting in just some basic text. 5-day free online, oops, spelled things wrong, online support group. I love calling it a support group because that's what these are, guys. It's a great way to talk about them. Challenge groups are a great way to share it too. I love that name, but sometimes that scares people. And there's a little typo in there. One too many L's. Got L happy because of L Woods. So I got that there. Oops, moving things around. Go over here and grab. Sometimes if you do not attach things, this is the problem that you have, where you go and you grab the background and it doesn't really allow you to. And instead you're grabbing the wrong thing. You make it work, trust me. You'll figure it out. So repositioning myself just a little bit again. Sometimes that annoys me and I just grab it this way. Makes it a little bit easier. Okay, now I'm happy with that positioning. So in this group, just to reiterate with you guys in case you have forgot already, this group is going to be 5 days of different workouts that focus on the booty and the legs. But it's not just going to be about workouts, it's going to actually be more of a clean eating group. So that's something I want to make sure people know too. It's going to be a workout, so you don't have to be doing, 22-minute hardcore, 21-day fix or anything like that. You'll be getting a meal plan that'll be posted a couple days before the group starts. You can go ahead and follow along with us. And then also be doing some different exercises to help with what you got going on. I'm just encouraging everybody to do 30 minutes of exercise in some way in addition to the moves that we talked about in the group. So what I'm going to put in here, focused workout moves on the legs and booty. Don't worry about the size. We'll fix that here in a second. Clean. I'm going to put clean eating meal plans provided. I'm going to put humor, because you know there's going to be some of that in there. And then prizes, because I always like people to know that there's going to be cool giveaways. To make this centered so it will fit in the middle between Elle Woods and my head, I'm going to go over here to the text box, click the little center button, and there's that's centered. But it's too big, right? Well, we're going to fix that. Now there's this here. Sometimes the overlays really annoy me and I just move them around. Okay, so I'm going to just make it a little bit smaller here by just grabbing and pulling like we typically do. And then I'm noticing I could probably get away with some spaces in there, which would fill up the area, right? Okay, cool. So go ahead and put this up here. And I like how that looks. So that is kind of off-centered. So I'm playing around with it again. As you could see, like I said earlier, I do a lot with changing things around. I think I like things and then I see them somewhere and then I decide I don't. It's okay. You just gotta like the finished product. So do whatever you gotta do to make it work for you. Cutting this in a little bit to make sure it's kind of even. The one thing I want to do now is I want to go ahead and I want to slap our logo on there. I put our logos on as much as possible. It's not just, it's for branding purposes, but it's also just to make sure that people can associate our brand with something. Our team is amazing. We lead amazing groups. And I want people to know that there's a lot more than just these online groups. It's a cool community of people that are awesome sharing their sparkle every single day. So I'm going to put our little logo right up there. And then the last thing that I'm going to do to this is I'm just going to put my link on there. And I change up what I put on as far as links go. I put on sometimes my Instagram handle, sometimes my Sparkle Fitness Babe post, or my address. I always have something driven somewhere so people can go there. And also, so if people want to, take this image and try to use it for their own challenge groups too, my image is going to be, or my information is going to be on there somehow. So it's just kind of a protection thing. I'm going to go in and just with the shadows, and I think actually I'm going to do quicksand for this one. I'm just going to do for this one my Sparkle Fitness Babe. As you can see, it's a little bit big. I always make those small, and then I'll put them in the graphic somewhere at the bottom. This is where I'm going to put that right there. And there we go. That's all I'm going to use for my first introduction for the Bend and Snap Challenge. It's a 5-day free online support group so people know what's going on with it. Tell them what they're doing, a focused workout moves, or focused workout moves on the legs and booty, clean eating meal plans provided, humor, and prizes. And I just realized I didn't have a space there in between. Let me move this out of the way with the prizes. So make sure you always cruise through and do a quick just check for spell check and grammar and those kind of things. Still works, still fits great. Space this perfectly. Awesome. So then the graphic is done. So what I want to do now is just save it. So I'm going to save. bend and snap, save to my computer. I'm going to save it right to the desktop. That's how easy it is, guys. I know I ran through that pretty quickly, but that's a real basic one. I mean, you can do whatever you want with this program. I just encourage you to start trying to make your posts as personal as possible. You know, you don't want to be posting the same sweaty selfie every single day, that shaker cup every single day. It's annoying. It turns people off, and it doesn't show your personality. I'm really a big supporter of personality because I have a big one, and everybody does. Everybody's got their own unique personality that they need to share, and I want people to come to your page excited to see what you're posting, and never know what to expect. But these really know they can get really cool graphics that are going to give them a lot of information or be exciting or make them laugh, whatever your objective is for the post. But be creative, because that's what's going to set you apart from all the other coaches in the network. I hope this helped, guys. I hope that you can make some really cool graphics, and I challenge you, as your call to action for tonight, to create a bend and snap graphic and post it in our Sparkle family, to share with everybody, below the link for this call tonight. Thanks so much, guys, for hanging out. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.